Hello, this is Matthew with Technomicon Media, and this week on Technomicon.com we are looking at Garageband 1.2 update and features. Basically, Garageband 1.2 brings a number of various new features to the iPad in terms of functionality, primarily a lot of things dealing with step recording and step editing. For people familiar with Garageband iOS, before it was pretty much real-time recording, and that was it. You could edit at the step level, but now you can do things like change velocity, which I'm showing here, simply by selecting a note in the notation view. You can edit groupings of notes as well, simply by selecting an area that doesn't have notation until a gray box, as you can see, appears, and then you drag that over the notes that you want to select. One thing I did find, however, is that velocity changes, which is a new feature for Garageband iOS, does not seem to work for this kind of group selection mode. The group selection mode, as far as I was able to test, works great in terms of moving groups of notes around, as well as copying and of course deleting them, but the velocity change, even when a number of notes are selected, seems to only affect one specific note, and the note that it affects doesn't seem to be consistent. So that's probably a bug there, but it's minor. I mean, you can go in at the individual note level and just change all of the velocities. One thing I want to point out about velocity changes at the notation level is people familiar with other programs. I myself use Reason. Know that when velocity changes are made at the note level, usually there's some sort of visual indicator, and that would be like a color saturation change, and that's not present in Garageband iOS, unfortunately. So if you're doing a lot of velocity changes, then with things like cymbal rides or hi-hats, close hi-hats and all that kind of things, it's pretty tedious and gets a little bit overwhelming in terms of trying to get those subtle nuances of your rhythm going. But it does work, and it works great. It's just that sort of irked me a little in terms of not being able to see any sort of visual representation of all the various velocity changes that you can make. So in addition to all these new editing features and the velocity and the ability to group select notation is of course the ability to write in new notation. That's done in the same view, except that in the upper left corner, when you go into the edit mode, you'll see this red button. And when you toggle that red button to the right, you're now able to write in new notation. And that's sort of how they're able to add that dual functionality of in the edit mode being able to select notation, and then in the right mode being able to add in notation. So here I'm showing you some notation added in, and it's pretty straightforward. You just want to make sure that you zoom in as far as you can go so that you're not misplacing notation. Here I'm showing it, of course, with my finger, but I recommend using a stylus. And I also recommend that you change your quantization. It seems to lock the notes better, and I found that when I didn't have my quantization selected, it was just putting things at the half note sort of positioning, and so you want to keep that in mind as well. So hands down, in terms of functionality as far as new features go, is the merge track feature. For those that are familiar with GarageBand, you're limited to 8 tracks, and this new merge track feature allows you to basically mix down multiple tracks, as many as you want, into one new track. And that's the thing that I love about it, is that it just works. There's nothing to it. It's easy. It's undoable. And it's the most straightforward thing that they've implemented. You basically tap on the instrument icon to your left and select merge, and then just select all the items that you want to merge, and it creates this new audio track. And there, I just undid that, and you can see that it maintains both versions. What it's actually doing is creating a new version of the file with the merge track, so it's very easy to go back and forward and work that way, and it's great. And of course, this is Matthew with Technomicon Media. For the full article on